Look who's here. How you doing, Lucy? The news is kind of crazy. We could use some cat affection. All right, here we go. YouTube's waking up. YouTube is waking up. Oh, we're live. How about those apples? Speaking of apples, I get some killer apples these days. Oh, right. All right. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good morrow. It is the quarantine day of our Lord, April the 7th, 2020. Happy April, happy time. I hope you are staying safe. I hope you are staying home. I hope you are staying well. And Lucy's here. She's chilling. She doesn't do this too often. See, she's used to me being home like all the time now. So, sometimes, during Get Your News On with Ron, she'd be like kind of clingy. She's like, well, I know you're going to be here now, and then you might not be around as much the rest of the day. So I want to get my pets in now. I want to get my pets. But now she's like, yeah, you're just going to be here a bunch. And sometimes you're in front of that camera. Other times you're just not. And sometimes you're writing something. And sometimes you're just doing whatever. So you're kind of always here. So she hasn't been as present during the live streams, but here she is today, and that's a good thing because man, today's something, and we're gonna go over to the Wisconsin primary. You may have seen the headline for today's show that the Wisconsin primary is happening now. It shouldn't be. It's really effed up that it's happening now. Let's get a quick recap, shall we? So what happened was Wisconsin's governor said we're not doing this. Wisconsin's governor said, we're suspending this. We're going to do mail-ins. And, we got to get it by June. He pushed it down the road. He was like, we're not doing this. It's not safe. Other states have delayed their primaries. This is what we're doing. But then they took it to the Supreme Court. And this is by John Nichols tweeted this out yesterday. Breaking by a 4-2 vote, the conservative majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court has blocked Governor Everett's order to shut down Tuesday's elections. It's chaos now as a responsible effort to postpone Wisconsin. #postpone Wisconsin has been overturned. And what I tweeted out when that happened was, wow. Just wow. We don't live in a democracy, folks. We don't even live in a country. We live in a corporation with state lines. So the governor said it's not safe to go out and vote. We're not going to do it. And the Supreme Court said, nope, you got to go out and vote. You got to go out and vote. And Katie Halper wrote a pretty important headline about all this that I want to show next. Katie Halper reminds us of this. No election that endangers voters is legitimate. Despite the blatant public health danger it poses and the widespread voter disenfranchisement that will occur, Wisconsin will hold its primary tomorrow. People will die as a result. And the results should be seen as illegitimate. Just give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses so they can die here. Bring them here. Bring them here. Bring them in here. We got a lot of space in this country, so we got room for them to die. I guess that's what the United States. Hey, you're poor. Go die. Go die. This is here's a tweet that I was pretty impressed by. I think this really summed it up well. This is by a guy named Dylan P. Cook. I don't know him, but I like this tweet by him. Welcome to America, says Dylan, where murderers can't vote, but voters can be murdered. Sums it up pretty well. That's by a fellow named Dylan P. Cook. Again, don't know the guy, but thought that was a really clever tweet. He tweets that out. And Lucy. So what's happening in Wisconsin so far? Well, let's check it out. Here's something from one of the local news stations, just to give you a glimpse of what's going on in Wisconsin right now. Polls open in minutes. This is from a little bit ago, a couple hours ago. Here's a look at the line. in Waukesha, the city's only polling location. Look at this line. Look at how close these people need to stand. And look how long this line is. And apparently it goes over to the other side as well. Oh, by the way, if you're listening to the podcast later and you're not hearing this live, it's a really long line and people are not able to stand 6 feet apart. It's a really, really long line. There's a lot of older people in that line. People are literally risking their lives to go vote. And who was okay with this, by the way? Joe Biden and the Republicans and the Supreme Court. They're all okay with this. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your well-being. They'll tell you to go vote in a pandemic. Pound sand. They do not care. Here's something else from Gostola. The Wisconsin primary is and will be an illegitimate election. Organization of American States should declare it as such now and immediately encourage intervention by officials to convene a fresh election at a later date. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Now here's something else. Just to give you an idea of what's really going on as far as the numbers are concerned. So here is this is from Ari Berman. There's a 3-hour line in Green Bay. Here's an example of the lines here. This photo, look at this line. Green Bay, the city of Green Bay, only has 2 polling places for 105,000 people. Milwaukee was forced to close 175 of 180 polling places. So that's 5 polling places for a city of 600,000 people. It's criminal that the Wisconsin GOP forced people to vote today. And it wasn't just the Wisconsin GOP, it was Joe Biden. It was Joe Biden too. And the Democrats. They forced people to go vote today. This is a completely illegitimate process. This is our elections are already corrupt to the core, and now they're not even trying to hide it. They're not even trying to hide any amount of, hey, this is corrupt to the heel. This is just trying to give you the delusion of choice. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure we get our establishment lackey in. So that way we can do what we always do and just bet on both horses. The real powers that be, the real people that run this country, the ruling class, the donor class, Wall Street, the small handful of corporate entities that really run everything, they control your media. They control your politicians. They got the judges in their pockets. George Carlin summed all this up years ago, and nothing's changed. All those people, they're going to get what they want. Because whether Joe Biden wins or Donald Trump wins, it doesn't matter to them. It makes no difference. They're going to have their corporate blank suit either way. So they're doing everything they can to make sure Joe Biden gets it. Do everything you can to just push this through. Do everything you can. I mean, it's criminal that this is occurring. It's absolutely brutal. It's inhumane. And nothing's really being done about it. So little is being done about it. People should be screaming at the rafters, and some people are. Some people are. But it's certainly not people with the megaphone. It's certainly not people with the megaphone. In fact, check this out. I found this. Check this out. This is brilliant. This is what the nice, polite Republicans had to say. By nice, polite Republicans, I mean NPR. That's not what they had to say. Wisconsin election held amid virus fears. Here's what you need to know. After an intense political back and forth. That's all it was, you guys. It was just an intense political back and forth. This is all political. People aren't risking their lives. It's not like there's a pandemic. And this goes beyond a political back and forth. This is life or death for some people. People are going to die. But it's a political back and forth. It's just a political back and forth. It's like when Trump tweets and then one of the Democrats tweets back and they're like, that wasn't nice. And we go #resistance. It's just like that. So after an intense political back and forth, Wisconsin is holding its primaries. The controversial election day, it's controversial, you guys, comes after the Wisconsin Supreme Court overturned an executive order issued by Democratic Governor Tony Evers to delay in-person voting until June 9th, followed by a U.S. Supreme Court order Monday evening to cut off an extension for absentee voting. The state had been the subject of criticism across the country throughout March, as more than a dozen other states delayed their elections due to coronavirus fears. Wisconsin officials ordered a stay-at-home order for the state 2 weeks ago. Here we go. This is great. Check out this sentence. Voters have the option of casting their ballots in person Tuesday, but it may not be easy for those willing to go. It may not be easy for you. Why won't it be easy? You might catch a virus that'll kill you. So it might not be easy, but if you want something difficult, you can still go and do it. That was man. Imagine if nice, polite Republicans were doing the reporting for a Mario video game. So Mario's got this thing. It might not be easy, but he's got to get to the castle somehow. Might not be easy for him though. What's he got to do? Well, that's not in the article. Well, yeah, but what's he got to do? Well, he's got to cross this moat, and he's got to jump over these all these rivers and stuff. And if he falls in the river, he's dead. And then there's these giant turtle-looking things. He can hurt them, but they can also hurt him. And then there's these flowers that breathe fire that can also kill him. And so basically, he might die. So it might not be easy, but if he gets to the castle, he'll rescue the princess anyway. But it might not be easy. This isn't a video game though, folks. This is real life. These are people's lives at stake. And NPR is telling you, well, it might not be easy. If you want to vote in person, it might not be easy for you. You might catch a virus that could kill you. No, but it might not be easy. How apologists can this isn't news. You understand how this isn't news now? How the corporate media are just guard dogs for the powers that be in the most disgusting, abhorrent way imaginable. Who wrote this? Elena Moore, you should be ashamed of yourself. This is disgustingly. Oh, here we go. It gets better. Look at this next sentence. Polling places were consolidated and modified. Polling places were consolidated and modified to follow social distancing guidelines. And there's expected to be a shortage of about 7,000 poll workers, as many declined to work amid the pandemic. Let's redo that paragraph a little bit so that it's actually honest and not sugar-coated to the nth degree. This article is sugar-coated so hard, it could service a candy factory for 2 years. Here's what this sentence should really say. Polling places are grossly unprepared and have been modified so there's only a few of them for thousands and thousands of people, but they put some tape on the ground that people won't be able to adhere to anyway, and it'll probably fall off soon. But they put some tape on the ground to present the facade that they actually give a shit about you. And there's going to be some poll workers that don't come because they made the very difficult decision of, do I stand up for my life or do I go and risk my life because other people are risking theirs to go vote? That's a decision you have to make in our so-called democracy. Consolidated and modified. Let's remind everybody. What are some of these consolidations they're referring to? Here's some of the consolidations they're referring to, by the way. Milwaukee closed 175 out of 108 polling places. That's 5 polling places for a city of 600,000 people. Green Bay, 2 polling places for 105,000 people. Other cities, they just have 1 polling place total. So wait, you're doing this to adhere to social distancing guidelines? Do you see how NPR just wrote that sentence? I mean, how can you publish that? with a straight face. I mean, anyone who read that article before it was published should have just been having an evil cackle hysterically the entire time. It's the only way it would have made any sense. Oh, well, they did the right thing by having less polling places. They consolidated and modified them to adhere to social distancing guidelines. What does that mean? They put some tape down, and then they closed a bunch of poll places. It's consolidating and modifying it. If we should keep our social distance from each other, if we should be at least 6 feet apart, it makes sense that we have less polling places. That's a smart thing to consolidate. You know how like when a band or an artist that they're getting more successful, and maybe they booked a tour before they were as successful as they had become, so the venue is too small for them. You know what they always do? They get a smaller venue. That's what they do. They don't get a bigger venue or add more nights. They make it smaller so that the people can consolidate, and then you can have more people do. You realize how this makes zero sense. You get the idea. NPR published this, by the way. People are risking their lives to go vote right now. This is what NPR has to say about it. Nice, polite Republicans. So this is what's happening, folks. Let's take a look one more time at some of those lines. This is what people in Wisconsin are having to go do. This is what they're doing for this sham election, for this sham insult to the even the idea of a democratic experiment. This is the United States doing this. In a pandemic, this is what they want people to go do. Because they do not care if you live or die. They do not care at all. They just straight up don't care. And then you get these ridiculous apologist articles from places like NPR so that it doesn't sound like a big deal. So that it doesn't sound like a big deal. That a bunch of neoliberals who live on the coast somewhere are sipping the red wine and being like, well, I hope those people in Wisconsin are okay. I know it was a little risky for them. Blue no matter who. Look at that line. During a pandemic. During a pandemic. This is what they want people in Wisconsin to do, and they don't care. They don't care at all. I think this sums it up perfect. It's criminal that the Wisconsin GOP forced people to vote today. It's criminal that the Wisconsin GOP and the Joe Biden campaign and the courts forced people to go vote today. It's criminal. All right. So, guys, fortunately, there's not all bad news today. There's some encouraging news because we've been covering strikes a lot over the past week or so because they've been happening, which is good. They've been happening. And here's another one that's happening now. So check this out. I'm going to have an okay boomer moment, if you will, because I didn't even know about this service. But anyway, here we go. So this is from Vice. Target's delivery workers are staging a walkout. Now, this isn't Target specifically. This is delivery workers. Now, I got to say this. I am not the biggest Vice fan in the world. I'm not a fan of Vice, but they've been reporting on a lot of these strikes. The past week and a half, Vice has been one of the few, larger corporate outlets that's actually talking about the strikes that are going on. So, I got to tip my hat where it's due. I mean, of course, independent media is talking about the strikes. Places like this are talking about the strikes. Like independent blogs and independently owned outlets are talking about the strike, sure. But as far as the corporate media is concerned, Vice is pretty much the only place. I mean, MSNBC, not talking about it. CNN, sure, selling it. Fox News ain't talking about it. A lot of these other more neoliberal blogs, they're not talking about it. Vice is one of the only places. So, still not a big fan of Vice, but, every now and again, they do have a good story when it comes to digital rights. And it looks like they're doing some coverage of the strikes. And, so kudos to whoever's doing it. And, I'm sure they'll be looking for a new job soon. But until then, Vice is actually talking about strikes. Gig workers on the delivery platform Shipt say they're asking for a bare minimum paid leave, hazard pay, and protective gear for all shoppers. I've never heard of Shipt before. SHIPT. Never knew about it, but I guess they deliver for Target. So gig workers on Target's delivery platform Shipt are organizing a walkout on Tuesday, that's today, to protest the lack of safeguards in place to protect them during the coronavirus pandemic, the first worker-organized action against the gig economy giant. Workers are demanding $5 of hazard pay per order, 14 days of paid sick leave for all workers regardless of whether they've received a positive coronavirus test, personal protective gear for all gig workers, and a return to a clear commission-based pay model. Organizers are also asking customers to boycott the app on Friday, April 10th, in solidarity with Shipt workers. You can count on one participant. I'm with you, baby. On Friday, I will not use that app. Not a big help because I didn't know that it existed, and I don't have it currently. But I'm going to continue that. On Friday, I'm not going to be like, hey, that Shipt thing I read about the other day, I think I want it now. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. Seriously, does anyone use? I'm not familiar with this thing. What are you going to do? I mean, I'm not a big Target guy, so I don't know. And if I do need something from Target, I have one down the street from my house. So I usually just walk there. But anyway, the action marks the first time gig workers at the Birmingham, Alabama-based company, which boasts more than 100,000 gig workers nationwide and is hiring at least 10,000 more in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. All right, so people know about it. Have staged a collective protest against the company since its founding in 2014. It's been around for a minute. It's been around for 6 years. As previously reported by Motherboard, the app has been known to censor and retaliate against its workers online. Of course it does. Of course it does. Shipt has put Band-Aids on everything instead of fixing the root causes of our problems, says Willie Solis, a lead organizer of the Shipt walkout and a gig worker in the Dallas area. So he told Motherboard, rather than fix those issues, they're figuring out ways to lower our pay and get more shoppers on more orders as quickly as possible. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Hey, there's a pandemic going on. How can we screw our workers over harder? They're putting themselves in harm's way to work because they're probably 1 or 2 paychecks away from going completely under. How can we screw them over more? Let's mess with their pay. What are they going to do about it? People need deliveries. Oh, wow. I've had pneumonia. This is getting back to the Willie Solis quote. I've had pneumonia 6 times in my life. Wow. Ooh. And I can tell you that it's a very difficult situation for me to be a Shipt shopper right now. So I'm guessing the way it works is that the people do the shopping. The people who are workers on this app, they do the shopping for folks and they deliver it to them. Shipt has offered 2 weeks of paid sick leave to workers who are able to provide the positive results of a coronavirus test or are placed under quarantine by public health authority like the CDC. So get this, a doctor's note doesn't suffice. That's great. Workers say providing this assistance is meaningless as it is difficult to obtain tests, and some cities have all but stopped testing for many patients altogether and does not account for its senior and immunocompromised workers on the platform who face higher risks of contracting the virus. Wow. So on Friday, facing uproar from workers, Shipt sent an email announcing that it would begin to provide face masks and gloves to all workers within the next 2 weeks, as well as a kit with hand sanitizer and gloves to shoppers in high-risk areas and those who have worked the most during the pandemic. The leaders of the walkout say that this limited supply should have been made available to all shoppers weeks ago. No kidding. In that same email, Shipt also clarified that the elimination of pay on canceled orders announced in late March will be partially reversed. As a Shipt shopper, here's what the company had to say. Get ready for this BS, which is what it is. As a Shipt shopper, your safety and well-being is our utmost priority. That's why we found ways to screw with your pay amidst a pandemic. Because your safety is our priority. God, isn't it so good? I love it when corporations would say that. Safety's first. No, it isn't. That's just a basic lie. Profits first. That's all you care about. That's our system. We are seeing the effects of capitalism in its most bare essence. This is what it's set up to do. It's set up to make profit above all else. You, human being, are a disposable widget. That's what capitalism is. That's why it's failed miserably every time it's been tried. And it is completely unsustainable. And it eventually eats itself. And now we're seeing that big time. Because whenever you have a pandemic or anything close to it, a capitalist society isn't equipped for it. Because if profit comes first, you're not ready to handle any type of medical emergency. You're not built for it. You're not set up for it because you don't care. Because if a disposable widget isn't useful anymore, you just get another one. So here's their stupid email that, is absolutely, as a ship shopper, your safety and well-being is our utmost priority. We appreciate you and we'll continue to monitor and address your needs as the situation progresses. There's a pandemic going on, but we're looking at our bottom line and we don't really give a shit. We found out that if we throw some hand sanitizer your way, well, yeah, we can live with that a little bit. We won't let the shareholders know, but we're going to throw you some hand sanitizer, and we might even send you a get well card if you're sick, and screw you. We don't care. Shipped. Oh, well, here we go. If anything sets Shipped apart from its peers, it's its cheery, friendly marketing style, paired with which some shoppers describe as a culture of censorship and fear on the company's Facebook group, The Shopper Lounge. Shipped encourages its gig workers to go above and beyond by tacking on gifts like thank you cards, flowers, and balloons onto customer orders paid out of their own pockets. Calling this kind of service bringing the magic. Wow, I've never heard of this app, but I hate it. Can I just go on record? I despise this company. I don't need to hear another side to the story. This is enough for me. I've been around the corporatocracy because keep in mind, I am a citizen of the United Corporation of States, which is what the United States is. It isn't a country. If you're a citizen of the United States like me, just remember, you don't live in a country. You live in a corporation with state lines. That's what you live in. You don't know what it's like to live in a country. And neither do I. I don't know what it's like. One way or another. Don't know. Bring the magic. Wow. It's so amazing. This insane work culture people passively accept, where you're just expected to do more and get less and do more and get less and do more and get less. Your quality of life be damned. Your life be damned. They don't care. So I'm glad I'm glad they're striking. I stand with them. I've never used Shipt before. I've never heard of it until right now. But I can promise you, I will never use it. That's one thing you can count on. I will never ever use this app. You got me. Oh, wow. And by the way, these strikes are happening. And you know what? They really need to strike. It really needs to happen. And that's an understatement because guess what's happening, guys? It's already happening. Check this out. This is from MSN, by the way. Grocery workers are beginning to die of coronavirus. So it's happening. These people that are having to go to work. Major supermarket chains are beginning to report their first coronavirus-related employee deaths, leading to store closures and increasing anxiety among grocery workers as the pandemic intensifies across the country. A Trader Joe's worker in Scarsdale, New York, a greeter at a Giant store in Largo, Maryland, and 2 Walmart employees. Of course, Walmart, one of the worst companies in the frickin' world, from the same Chicago area store have died of coronavirus. The companies confirmed this on Monday. Though more than 40 states have ordered non-essential businesses to close and told residents to stay home to stem the spread of the virus, supermarkets are among the retailers that remain open. Thousands of grocery employees have continued to report to work as U.S. infections and death rates continue to climb, with many reporting long shifts and extra workloads to keep up with spiking demand. Many workers say they don't have enough protective gear to deal with hundreds of customers a day. Dozens of grocery workers have tested positive for the coronavirus in recent weeks. And I get it. I mean, I get it that we do have to have some essential services. I understand that. We can't just not have grocery stores available, period. And I don't think that's what anyone's calling for because, I mean, you know, no one can survive without food. That's kind of impossible. But what we should have is a better system in place so that people can get food as safely as possible. And the workers that are essential to make sure this food happens also have the safest environment possible. For example, we should have it set up so that no one needs to go into the grocery store. So that people are able to just deliver the groceries via an overseen service where delivery people are treated right, not by places like Shipt that are abusing their workers. We should have systems in place. But we don't. We don't have any systems in place to make sure people can safely get food. And I get it. People have to go to the grocery stores. It's not like you can just not have food in your house. And it's a shame that there's not a system in place for the safety of everyone involved, especially the workers who have to be around hundreds of customers all day. You know, if you're just going into the store, well, that's much lower risk than someone who's working at the store all day for long shifts. And as you get tired, you get more susceptible. So there's a number of things we should be doing that I'm assuming we're definitely not doing. First of all, there should be limits on how many hours anyone can work in a row. And I don't think it should be more than 4. I don't think anybody working right now should be working more than 4 hours in a row for their own safety. There should be proper sanitation available everywhere. Nobody should have a shortage of hand sanitizer or have to go in their own pocket even for hand sanitizer when they're working. When they're working at an essential service like a grocery store. No one should have to do that. They should be taken care of. They should, of course, be given masks and gloves. And they shouldn't be working for more than 4 hours in a row. And there should be more delivery services available that are actually treating people right, that can get food to people. So people don't have to go in the stores, or at least only have to go in the stores a lot less. We should be doing all those things. We're not doing any of those things. And now people are dying. People are dying as a result. So we need a general strike, and we need it big time. And that's easier said than done because a lot of people are one paycheck away from going under. And we're not going to, people are pushing for a rent suspension. But the government's certainly not going to let anything like that happen. They're going to fight that tooth and nail. They already have been. There's an eviction moratorium for a little bit. It only applies to some people. For some people, you can't evict them. Not everyone, but some people, you can't evict them. Other countries, they have suspensions on all these things. They have mortgage freezes. They have rent freezes. They have suspensions on payments. They have salaried guarantees. They have an emergency universal basic income. Other countries are doing all these things. England, Canada. List goes on and on. Who's not doing it? The United States. The United States ain't doing anything. Some of us might get a one-time payment of $1,200. The United States' response has been that of third world countries. And people are dying. Wow. So I got a couple things that I wanted to highlight here. First was we got a little bit of music talk to kind of lighten the load today. It's a heavy day because of what's going on in Wisconsin. It's brutal. And also, I got to do a little bit of housekeeping from yesterday. So I missed a super chat yesterday. It came at the end. I didn't see it before I signed off. There's a little bit of delay. But this is from Moonborn Unicorn. Moonborn, thank you very much for your super chat contribution yesterday. I did chat you, and I said, hey, I'm going to get to this on today's show. And it says, hey, Ron, what kind of headphones do you got? All right, so here's the headphones I'm using now. These are my new headphones. These are the Sony Dynamic Stereo Headphones MDR 7506. and they say professional on them. I got these headphones. They even got the right and left ear marked. Huh? Aren't they cool? I love these headphones. They've been a godsend. And yeah, again, that model, it's by Sony. It is the MDR 7506 headphones. They're good headphones. They're good stereo headphones. I like them. And thank you for that comment, Moon Baby. Thank you very much for your super chat contribution. Today's song of the day is oh wait, also real quick before I get to today's song of the day. So we talked about Nirvana yesterday because it was over the weekend. It was the 26th anniversary of Kurt Cobain's passing. It's crazy to think it's been 26 years. But Edwin requests that I made a list of my 10 favorite Nirvana songs. And I also got a lot of emails from you guys about that segment yesterday. You were telling me how you got into music. Some of you were telling me that you listened to Nirvana for the first time. You came from a different era where you grew up on a lot of the early classic rock, wasn't paying as much attention when Nirvana came out, but you listened to some Nirvana and you're like, man, he really liked John Lennon a lot. He sure did. He sure did. And that's really cool. You know, I know that some people, they wonder why we talk about music so much on this show. And the short answer is because I want to. The longer answer is because, look, I can't imagine not having music to cope with what's going on in the world. You know, the main reason I do this show is because the world's so insane and everything is so chaotic right now. And when you see articles like the one from NPR, and you think, what the hell? They're trying to just downplay what's really going on in the world. This is a sham. This is a scam. There's people across the country and across the world that feel that way. You're not alone. But if you just kind of rely on the corporate media, you might read these articles and listen to these segments and think, I'm alone screaming into a well. And the purpose of shows like this is to let you know you're not alone. There's other people that feel this way. There's other people that are waking up to this. There's other people that are waking up to the fact that this isn't about the wrestling match between Republicans and Democrats. This is about the have and the have-nots. This is about the corporatocracy versus the rest of us. And a theme like that needs a freaking soundtrack. And it would be nothing without a soundtrack. So that's why we talk about music on this show. That's why we're going to continue to talk about music on this show. Because I can't imagine going through the world without it. So anyway, here's my 10 favorite Nirvana songs. And it's really tough, by the way, to pick 10. I had a really hard time just picking 10 Nirvana tunes. But here's the 10 I picked. And a lot of you guys have been tweeting me. There's a lot of great Nirvana tunes that did not make my list of 10. Because again, and honestly, there were some that it was neck and neck, and making the judgment call was very difficult. But here's my 10 favorite Nirvana tunes. Oh, wait. Let me add that to the stream. Here we go. My 10 favorite Nirvana songs via request from Edwin. And I put this in the tweet. It was really hard to pick just 10, but in no particular order. Sappy, Son of a Gun, which was a cover by the Vaselines. There's a Scottish rock band called the Vaselines. Nirvana covered a lot of their songs. Son of a Gun was one of them. And Jesus Don't Want Me for a Sunbeam was another one. And I believe Molly's Lips was originally a Vaseline song too. Let me check on that. Let me Google that real quick to make sure that that was... Yeah, it was a Vaseline song as well. So Molly's Lips, Jesus Don't Want Me for a Sunbeam, and Son of a Gun, which made my top 10. It's one of my favorite Nirvana recordings. Pennyroyal Tea, On a Plane, Drain You, Sliver, Negative Creep, About a Girl, Blue, Scentless Apprentice. Now, I was a little surprised by this, but Bleach, songs from Bleach made the most of my top 10 list. Bleach, the first Nirvana album. I got 3 songs out of my top 10 that are on Bleach. I wasn't really expecting that, to tell you the truth. Not that I knew which album I would dive into the most, but dove into Bleach the most. Blue, About a Girl, Negative Creep. On a Plane, Drain You, both off of Nevermind. Neither of them were singles on Nevermind. Sliver on the Incesticide album that was mainly a collection of B-sides and earlier recordings. Scentless Apprentice, Penny Royalty on In Utero originally. Penny Royalty appeared on Unplugged in New York, so did On a Plane as well. Son of a Gun on the Incesticide album. And Sappy was never released on any of their full-length albums, but it's on a couple live bootlegs. And I think it was recorded, and it might have been the B-side on one of the singles at some point. But so there you go. Sappy, Son of a Gun, Penny Royalty, On a Plane, Drain You, Sliver, Negative Creep, About a Girl, Blue, Scentless Apprentice. Those are my top 10 Nirvana tunes. It was not easy to pick. And the song of the day. So, guys, I had a dream the other night that my punk band from when I was 14 years old reunited. And we reunited as dudes in our 30s. And we played a show. And we packed the house. Now, we played at the venue that we used to play at when we were kids. It was a place called American Music Cafe. I'm pretty sure that place has been closed for years now. So that part of the dream will never be realized. But I did have a dream that we reunited and we played a set. And we played some of our original songs. And we played some covers. Just because we were like, look, we can't just play a bunch of songs we wrote when we were 14. We're grown-ups now. But we did play some of our own songs. We kind of souped them up a little bit, reworked them a little bit, wrote some more leads. And I woke up from that dream, and I was kind of going through some chords in my head, and I was trying to think if I remembered any of those songs. And honestly, I think I can remember some of them, which is a weird place in my short-term memory. Or I guess maybe it would be long-term, really, because I got to dig. But I remember a lot of those songs. And I think one of these days, since we're all spending a lot more time inside, I'm going to just sit and I'm going to try to remember as many of those songs as I can and maybe play them again. And if it's listenable, maybe I'll make a patrons video about it or something. We'll see. But anyway, I was singing a lot of music from my youth when I played in a band. And there's a band that I think really went under the radar. And that's a band called the Hippos. Now, the Hippos were around during the third wave ska boom. And the third wave ska boom, I'm a big fan of it. A lot of that music was kind of fly-by-nighty. Not all of it, but a lot of it was. And, the scene did not last long. Although some of those bands still stand the test of the time. Real Big Fish, they're still touring. Catch-22, I think. I think Catch-22 is still touring. And Streetlight Manifesto, which was started by the lead singer of Catch-22 and the main songwriter from the first album. All that stuff's still going. So it's still alive. It really is. But a lot of those bands, I think, kind of went under the radar and were actually writing some really great songs. And one of the bands that I feel like kind of drifted into oblivion and never quite got their due was a band called the Hippos. So a lot of the bands during this time, they had a lot of influences from the hardcore scenes and from the pop punk scenes. And their music was basically a mix of, first and second wave ska and punk rock and pop punk and, even hardcore a little bit. That was kind of the common formula. And this genre of music was commonly referred to as ska-core or third wave ska, different variations of that. The Hippos were one of the bands, and there were other bands like this too, that instead of borrowing from a lot of the punk rock stuff, they actually borrowed from a lot of pop rock of the 60s. And the Hippos kind of had this like garagey type vibe. They had a lot of Beatles-esque hooks in their tunes, combined with a updated third wave ska approach in their music. And the Hippos were that kind of band. Imagine like a 60s pop rock, Beatles-inspired rock and roll outfit with horns and a third wave ska influence, and that was the Hippos. So it was a little different, and it was really cool. I was a big Hippos fan. And the song of the day today is a song by the Hippos called Wasting My Life. And it's about a guy who longs for a gal, and he doesn't know if she's ever going to give him the time of day. Am I wasting my life waiting for you? Wasting my life waiting for you. Is it true? Am I wasting my life on you? Something about the way she never looks my way. I'm in love. Something in the way she doesn't hear a word I say. I'm in love. It has a melody kind of like the Taxman, kind of like the Beatles song The Taxman. The verse kind of has a Taxman vibe about it. So imagine Taxman, but a little different and with kind of a funky new wave, third wave. Well, it's not new anymore, but third wave ska beat. And that's this track. And it's a fun love song, something you could have imagined Paul McCartney belting out. Although Taxman was a George tune, but you know. So those are the vibes I get from that song. And I know I referenced another Beatles song because I hear the influence there, but it's not necessarily derivative by any means. It's just a cool influence that's there. Check out Wasting My Life by the Hippos. You can find it easily on YouTube. It's just the Hippos, no gimmicks, Hippos, Hippos. Wasting My Life is the track. Sometimes you just need a fun, laid-back, third-wave ska tune to just get you through the gunk of it all, right? So there you have it. That's the song of the day. Let me see what you guys are saying. And that's how we will dismount the show today. By the way, if you are so able or interested and willing, patreon.com/Ron Placone. And of course, only if you're on stable ground financially. Don't do it if you're not. But if you are, if your employment is sound, patreon.com/Ron Placone for a Give What You Can level. You get all kinds of exclusive content. I've been doing a live Zoom show for my patrons only once a week. I do a patrons only stream once a week where I just respond directly to the patrons, and the replay is only available on Patreon. I have a collection of writings, a collection of podcasts, a collection of videos, hundreds of them. You can download my album. It's in entirety. There's a bunch of stand-up videos not available anywhere else. You can get all that for a pay what you can level. So a lot of content to go through this quarantine. And even $1 or $2 a month goes a long way, and you help me build up this show. I'm hoping to continue with the Sound Revolution series, even though we're not doing it in person. We're doing all those remotely, so it has changed, but it's still happening, and I'm still working on it. And we're going to get those mini documentaries about municipal broadband going. I might be looking into a way to try to do it well in quarantine. I'm not sure how I can pull that off. A lot of this involved me getting together with other filmmakers to make this thing, and I'm collaborating with Kevin Ronka from Right Brain Studios. But there might be a way we can kind of do this virtually. You know what I mean? Like there might be a way that we can do all this remotely and still get something done. I'm looking into that, but obviously that project has been a little bit delayed because of everything that's going on in the world. But we are going to try to get back to it. Also, tour dates. I know a lot of you guys have been emailing me. We are amidst rescheduling everything, and we're doing that as quickly and efficiently as we can. All the venues in the country are in the same boat. All the ticketing companies in the country are in the same boat. Not just in the country, in the world. And all the artists in the world are in the same boat. We're all figuring this out as much as we can. If you are a ticket holder, dates will be rescheduled. And if you can make the rescheduled date, your tickets will still be good. You already have a ticket. You're good. If you cannot make the rescheduled date, you will get a refund. So do not worry. Refunds will be sent out for people who need them. Rescheduled information will be announced very soon, especially for the shows we got coming up. Pittsburgh, that show's already been rescheduled to September 26th. If you're a ticket holder for my April 10th Pittsburgh show, your tickets are good for September 26th. Same time, same venue. Mr. Smalls, 8 p.m. If you can't make that date, you can get a refund. So Pittsburgh, date's already been announced. Concord University, I should be there September 24th. And Seattle, Portland, we're working on you next. We're just going as quickly and efficiently as we can to try to reschedule these dates. There's still a lot of unknowns, but do not worry. You will not lose your ticket money. Your tickets will be honored or refunds will be given. Do not worry. That's just a PSA there. And speaking of tickets, this Saturday, Graham Elwood and I are doing another show. We're doing another e-show. We do those shows via Zoom. Tickets are $5, and you can get them now at my website, ronplacone.com. I also made a community post on my YouTube channel about it. All you need is an internet connection. It's happening this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. This is our third one. We've done it twice. It's been a blast both times. So if you're looking for some cool entertainment, please do consider it. You can go to my website, ronplacone.com, and reserve your spot now. Tickets are just $5, and you will be sent a Zoom link about an hour before the show starts. So you won't get a Zoom link immediately, but an hour before the show starts, you'll get a Zoom link. You hop into that Zoom link, and you enjoy the show. And Graham and I always take questions from the audience after. It's a good time. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying. What's up, Cardinal Sin? Good to see you. I hope you are safe. I hope you are well. Hey, Ron, thanks for what you do every day. Zero Divisor, check your audio, bro. Okay. What's wrong with it? I guess something's wrong with the audio. Was something wrong with the audio today? Well, I guess we'll look into that. But yeah, I'll look into that. Disgusting. Ray Foley says the protests are out now. All right. Sam Crow, Cali Dog, miss you on the Jimmy Dore Show. Keep punching up. General strike. I'm with you, Sam Crow. John Lennon, I live in Wisconsin. There will be needless deaths and wider spread of this virus due to our state government's corruption and ineptitude or corruptitude. Voss and Fitzgerald should be jailed. Love the show. Thank you very much, John Lennon. I appreciate that very much. Zero Divisor, Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia on Vice is a good series. I'll have to look into that. Thank you. Emperor Forever just voted in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Had to wait in line for almost 3 hours to do so. I wrote in Jill Stein's name just to troll the Dem. Please stay safe, Emperor Forever. Please do stay safe. Melissa, what's up? Got my Medicare for All Meow t-shirt. Thanks, Ron. Love the show. Thank you very much for that, Melissa. I'm glad you got the t-shirt in the mail. And Edwin, 5 Chords in the Truth coming back. No, I don't think so. So for anyone not in the know, 5 Chords in the Truth was a show that I did with a buddy of mine, Adam Grotman, fellow comedian. And it was a show where we talked about a topic pertaining to both music and politics. And then we did a thing called the Band Name Game. It was a music podcast, basically. And it was a fun time, but we're both kind of busy with other things now. Get Your News On with Ron keeps me pretty busy. And Adam, he has a kid, he has a family, and he's got other projects that he's working on too. So I don't think 5 Chords in the Truth is going to come back anytime soon. But it was a fun time, and I know there's some Facebook groups that are doing band name games and listen to the damn song, which is really cool. So even though that podcast didn't last a long time, I'm glad that some folks enjoyed it, and we really did enjoy doing it. But I will be talking about music on Get Your News On with Ron. That's never, ever going to stop. And I'm going to be interviewing musicians. That's never, ever going to stop. So thank you for that. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, Cardinal Sin, Zero Divisor, Ray, Sam Crow, John Lennon, Zero Divisor, Emperor Forever, Melissa H, Edwin, and Edwin. Thank you very much for the super chat contributions. I appreciate it very much. You help keep this show afloat. And we'll be back. You know the drill. We'll be back. And until then, you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Stay safe out there. Peace.